Dog Films presents Paid to Dream with Charles Dennis.
Can I help you?
Is Mr. Bodkin available?
Mr. Bodkin is busy at the moment. Is there anything I can do?
Oh, it has to be Mr. Bodkin.
And I told you he's busy.
Tell him that Mr. Steven Spielberg is here.
Mrs. Spielberg, what an honor. Gloria, why didn't you tell me Mrs. Spielberg was here?
But you said...
Oh, go call Pedro. Tell him the Y is falling off the sign again. Go.
Well, wasn't she delightful, that lady in the dress? She's like a fully clothed cherub. I mean, that's
Aw.
Kathy Grable. Now, you
Well,
hear her all the time, but you don't regularly get to see her. But I'm bringing her to you today on Paid to Dream. Kathy Grable, good morning.
Good morning, Charles. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. And it was so much fun to do that piece.
Oh, you are such a good sport. It was great fun in that jewelry store. It was a nightmare, because there were mirrors everywhere. And that was like I was like an adagio dancer trying to figure, no, don't shoot there, don't shoot there.
Well, plus we did that during COVID. I mean, that was my first on camera during COVID because all the voiceover I could do from my professional broadcast studio. And so I just remember like we couldn't be in there very long. And, it was just like the beginning days of being an actor, but everybody was a pro and it worked out. But yeah.
You and Malcolm were a riot.
Oh, thank
Clark,
you.
oh, the sign.
That was great. And by the way, Charles, I just did an NCIS Origins, so on camera. So
Yes,
that
I
is,
saw you with all those
yeah,
ladies. So
yeah.
what?
It was vintage. It was a period piece, I should say.
So
Yeah.
where did you do that?
CBS
Here
and
in L.A.
in LA, and one of our good mutual friends, Brent Huff,
Yes.
who I think was on your show. I walked craft service. I'm walking on the lot and I see the rookie. And so I text him, I go, "Are you on set today?" Because I think we even shared a craft service table or something. He's like, "Darn, I'm not working today." But it was great fun. So yeah. So starting back doing more on camera and, then continual voiceover, which is where we originally met, I believe, right, Charles?
Oh, in a booth.
The booth.
One of
Yeah.
those brief encounters in a booth. And
Or
then I went and had dinner and went, oh, I know you.
Right. Or the lobby we would sit around. But yeah, then we all had dinner and with our lovely spouses and yeah,
Yeah,
that
that was
was
going to be a
very
regular
nice.
thing, and then you guys moved.
Well, we're all over the place. We're not in that original place that we were in. But
That
yes.
fabulous log cabin.
Oh, it was
Oh,
wonderful. It was
the
just
100-year-old
wonderful.
house in
Yeah.
where was it? La Crescenta?
La
No,
Crescenta.
it
It
was
was
La.
from the 1920s. Yeah. Original fireplace and everything.
So
Yeah.
we
So
would have been neighbors if you stuck around because I'm in
I
Shadow Hills.
I know because now you moved since, yeah, everybody moved during, the last few years, it seems like to another location. But anyway, it's so nice to be on. I enjoyed watching the show. Yes, last night I thought I'm going to watch his podcast. It was really
Oh, which one
fun.
did you see?
Um, Charles, wait. Oh gosh, I can see his face and I'm totally spacing. It's the most recent one. Yeah. So that's up.
I'm a blank. Uh,
I'm a
uh, Lauren Lester, maybe.
Lauren Lester. I
Yeah,
even know Lauren. So
of
yes,
course,
Lauren
from the
Lester.
booth,
Yeah,
men in the
from the
booth.
booth. Yeah.
But
So
well, thank you. The number of people that say, "Oh, I saw them. I love the podcast." Say, click, like. I need to
yeah,
know.
you know what? I tried to hit like, and it was. I'll go in there and do it again. So it
I
wasn't liking it like I wanted to, but
didn't like. So tell me, how does it feel for the shoe to be on the other foot and to be the interviewee?
I know it's true. And you were on my podcast in my
Yeah.
voice, which was a lot of fun. And I started that during COVID and just thought I've got a booth and all that. Although you got to come in person, that was fun. But originally it was all, over Zoom and that sort of thing because we had to. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to have it on the other foot. I like it though. It's fun. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here.
Oh, you're in good company. We've got, and I've been able to resurrect some of the vintage. This Paid to Dream began as an audio podcast
Okay.
about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago now. And the problem is that it was done through a company in New Mexico, and I just don't have them all. You
Oh,
know,
yes,
and
yes.
and a lot of the people have passed on, some very, very dear friends,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't have them. And I keep asking the guy who produced the show, don't you have them somewhere? You know,
Yeah.
somewhere out there. Maybe the people in New Mexico have access to them. I don't know, but it's very sad. I would
Isn't
love.
that, I don't think people realize how often it's hard to find our own work, you know? I know that one of the questions you asked Lauren, which I don't know if you were going to ask me this or not, but was like when we started and our first jobs and everything. But one of my first jobs was playing the little match girl on PBS, and it was live. And I remember everybody, got to a TV. And I don't know why they did that. I think they had VCR, but they were like, it's going to be one time live. And so my whole family gathered around and everything. And I thought, well, I'm sure they taped it. And I tried to find it as an adult because I thought I'd love to see that. That was my first TV job. I started out doing theater, but I was young. I was like,
And where was this?
this was in Wichita, Kansas, because I'm from Kansas originally. And they said, you know what? PBS was so low budget back then. It's the stories like we hear, where they use the same tape over and over. And they're like, yeah, it probably got taped over. We had to use the
Oh
same, it was such a
no.
low budget. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so frustrating. So anyway,
Have you
yeah.
ever gone to YouTube and tried to access it?
I will try again because, I found a lot of jobs on YouTube, but uh it's sometimes you find them, sometimes you don't. Like the next day, sometimes I can't find what I found the day before. So anyone out there that looks for something on YouTube, capture it and use it. But I'm going to try again.
But you
You
just never
inspired
know if
me.
somebody.
Yeah.
So what year was this?
I
I mean,
don't, a
did
woman never
people, I
tells.
understand, but did people have home video cameras? We're not
Yeah.
talking kinescopes in 1958 or anything. We're
No,
talking,
no, it would have been probably the 80s, something like that.
you know,
Maybe late 70s. I'm trying to think because I was pretty young. I was the little magic. So I was pretty young, but
didn't,
yeah.
and no one even took a photograph? You have
You know,
no
I
record of this?
I'll have to check again. The other thing is I have to say a shout out. I don't think she's with us any longer. There was it wasn't even Wichita, Kansas. I'm from a small, small town, Moundridge, Kansas, where we had amazing opportunities. And I went to an even smaller grade school. People, my generation, this isn't even the way it works anymore, but I was kind of the last one, but they did full productions. I mean, and then this teacher, Mrs. Beckwith, started this drama group. So to anyone that was a gumdrop player, and you had to audition and you could be a gumdrop player. And so I happened to be the lead in the Little Match Girl. So it was the gumdrop players that were asked to be
Gumdrop.
on. Yeah. And we had little smocks and all that. I mean, we were in costume for that piece, but yeah, we'd go all over. She'd book us all over. And I look back now, with arts programs being cut and all that, I really feel like I was so fortunate to, when the arts were very big in the community. I grew up singing as well as theater, which I think played into voiceover, to be honest, with the theater. Don't you believe? Because you've done a lot of theater, Charles.
a lot of theater, but my origin, other than my backyard production of Peter Pan when I was 7, that same or the next year, no, the same year, my mother sent me to Marjorie Purvey, who ran a drama school, and she had a radio show. And
You told me
right,
this.
and
Yes.
the best kids got to be in there. So that was my introduction to all of this. And I remember it was like the second class, we all had to draw the microphone,
Yes.
and I remember,
Wow.
with the little thing that you had to put dead side of the mic.
Oh,
Years later, there was a mystery book about an actor. What the heck was a series of books about an actor in England, like a really second class. He wasn't a star or anything, but he always solved murders. And one of the books was called The Dead Side of the Mic. And
really?
so my first involvement as an actor was with voice, and
I love that.
And
Oh,
then years
gosh.
later, and so, I did that show, that kids' radio show, off and on for 5 years. And then years later, when I got the animated series Phantom 2040, and went in, and there were all these people in front of microphones.
Mm.
And it was like I was back with Miss Purvey again. We were
Yeah.
because later on, when I got to do the villain in Home on the Range for Disney, it was just me. And a lot of that
Oh,
now,
right.
people don't get to work with other actors on mic for because animation to me is just radio. It's great,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
rarely do they have the whole cast.
I
But this
know.
show did, and we had wonderful people on that Phantom. It was great.
Oh, that's so lovely. I mean, that was, the dead side of the mic. I'm sitting here going, I think I should know what he's talking about, but I think that was kind of before my time. And the
Well, no, it's
radio,
also the mics we have now. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, north, south.
right. Oh, I
But,
see what you're saying.
but it was
Okay.
think about Edward R. Murrow, those pictures where he's on the
Right.
PBS mic. So it's there or it's there, but the sides were dead. That's the
Yes.
dead side of the mic.
Right. You had to be right on mic. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
were taught avoid the dead side of the mic.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I love that for a mystery title. I'm gonna have to look for that.
I'll
That's
find out.
fabulous.
It was a
Yeah.
whole, yeah, lovely, but I don't think they ever filmed that. They should do it on. Ulrika and I, we watch BritBox and Acorn all the
Oh,
time.
yes.
Those British crime series are
Yeah.
fantastic, but they should get the
Yeah.
rights to that. Um,
Yeah.
so tell me about the Nicole Kidman. You doubled her voice.
That was I was like literally fresh. I feel like, fresh off the farm. I don't know. I was right out of college, and I had done actually 3 national tours. I did a lot of regional and summer stock before I came to Los Angeles. So I wasn't completely out of college. I had some professional experience for sure. But as far as film and TV and all of that, and now everybody knows about voiceover, but I had a friend who I still really. Thank you, Cheryl Emmiter. I was in Dallas for a short time and got my SAG card there. That's why I went to Dallas. They were shooting quite a bit there at the time. She goes, "You have a good voice for voiceover." And I actually had done 4 Pepsi spots like right out of college. And that's a funny story how that all came to be. But I didn't have a voiceover demo. So when I moved to LA, and I want to give a big shout out to Bill Farmer and Jenny Farmer. Bill is the voice of Goofy, as you know, and dear
Oh yes.
friends. And they were one of the first people I met in LA. And there was a guy that was in our life for a very short amount of time, both of our lives. I mean, I literally, and he just said, someone said, have coffee with so and so or whatever, you're new in town. I did. And he said, I think you should meet Bill and Jenny Farmer because um, she's from Texas and he's from Kansas because I was born in Kansas and grew up in Kansas. And so he was, from a neighboring little town. And so we met them, became fast friends. One of the first things, though, is Jenny said, "Do you have a voiceover demo?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Take it over to Kathy Kelmanson at Voicecasters." And she was working at Voice Casters. And to her credit, thank you, Kathy, she listened, called me, and I was booking jobs without an agent. She said, "You need to get an agent." I said, "Oh, okay. I was here to do film and TV, whatever." So that was my entree. And then I got with an agent, and that was one of my first jobs. And they said, I didn't even really know what looping was, but I have a very strong musical background. And they said, and I remember I was on a beeper. Remember being on
Yes.
beepers? And I was on a beeper, and they said, "Be at Warner Brothers in 45 minutes, quicker than that if you can get there." And so I went, and Joel Schumacher actually directed me, and then the AD did as well. And so, we look at the screen, three beeps, you come in. And then not only I needed to match her voice as a sound alike, but I needed to, any kissing noises into the hand, any breathing, anything like that. They wrote one new line that I put in. Well, and I had, but the bottom line is, I was looping up until 2 weeks before that movie was shot.
Well, tell me, was she not available or they didn't
She
want to
was
pay her?
she was not available, as I understand. She was on another film. Now that would even be a little easier, but then, really you couldn't do that. I mean, I guess the technology was crazy, but she was the lead in another film. I just don't think she had time. And so yeah, so I had to do a sound alike, sound exactly like her. That was my job. And it was just a wonderful experience. And they had to loop over 80% of that movie because of sound. Because at the time, if you watch it now, which I did not that long ago, and it's so funny watching those movies from then, they it had more sound, just effects, big effects that they hadn't done before. So they had to fix some of the sound. But it was really interesting that I think I did my last line 2 weeks before it was released. And then, Charles, this is another just kind of fun fact, is my husband was in a writers group with the people who wrote Batman Forever. And
Oh,
as you know, once they sell it, they don't have anything to do with it, the writers. So they found out that I had looped Nicole Kidman's voice for that. And they said, "We're going to go see the movie together," because it was just a fluke thing. But it, Charles, it's like that, isn't it? I was doing a podcast with someone, and he goes, "I did Tom and Jerry," and I go, "I did Tom and Jerry," and then I was with Bill, and he goes, "Oh, I did Tom and Jerry." And he did an episode Greg wrote. I did Tom and Jerry on a season. Greg wasn't on it, but that's the way it is. But yeah, so it was really fun. What was fun is the writers going, "We didn't hear any difference," and I go, "That was my job. I wasn't. You weren't supposed to know it was me." Yeah.
I was I went in some years ago for SpongeBob to do Krusty the Krab,
Yeah.
Clancy
Yeah.
Brown, uh, and they loved it. And I thought, I've got a job again. No, they were using me to show Clancy Brown, we've got a guy who can do the same thing. He wanted more
Mm.
money, I guess. I hate that. You know,
Yeah. Oh, I know. And we don't.
not only was it a waste of my time, but it was cruel
Yeah.
because they said, you're perfect. You're perfect.
Yeah. I know. We
There
get
was a
that, don't
woman who
we?
used to come up from San Diego. I can't remember her name now, but once a year she'd come up to San Diego for something here. And she would just go, "Oh my God, you are it. That is perfect. Oh, never heard boo." She went back to San Diego and she'd come with, and I just, if it's that woman again, I'm not even going in there.
Well,
Why did you do this?
it was funny because you also have to look at, I remember one time, year when I was first starting out, a couple of things. One is I did a White Castle audition, and they were filming it up east or something. And so they said, "Oh, you were great. We're going to check with your agent about availability and airline tickets. We need to book the airline tickets." And I said, "Okay, great," and gave my information, everything. Never heard anything. They're booking the airline tickets. So I was kind of, usually I say, "Hey, when the check clears," and I was pretty young. So I was kind of bummed. Then I got 4 McDonald's commercials. I couldn't have done the McDonald's if I had the White Castle because it would have been a conflict. So I was like, okay, you know, that was better, but that doesn't always happen. But anyway, yeah, we get that where we think, okay, they're talking to us details, and then it doesn't pan out sometimes.
I'm fascinated by the children's choir at the Hollywood Bowl. You coached them.
I actually directed 4 years in a row children's choir at the Hollywood Bowl, which was really an amazing. I mean, it was just amazing. The Hollywood Bowl, it was sold out every time we did it. It was actually for an Easter service. The woman who that the Hollywood Bowl was part of a ranch. And so, one of the things that was so interesting, the first time they asked if I would do it, I had done a whole arts program. And so they said, could you do this for kids? So that was just part of the arts program that I was going to do. And they said, we've been asked to do, they do a sunrise service every year. They need a kids choir. We've been asked to do that, and would you direct it? And then they also wanted me to do some other things throughout the year, and one was a Christmas program, that sort of thing, but it wasn't at the Hollywood Bowl, just the Easter service. So when she gave that ranch, if you notice, there's a cross above the Hollywood Bowl. It's been damaged, then put back
From
up
the
again.
Ford Theater across the freeway.
Right.
Yeah.
That's because she that was part of the deal. And she said, I will give, I don't know what the deal was, if she gave it completely or it was partial, private, or whatever. But she said, I will, give this ranch to the city if we have an Easter sunrise service every year. And so that was part of the, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but the deed or whatever. So when I went in to have the meeting, and it was a gift to the city. It was always supposed to be a concert that was a gift to the city of LA. So we, went in there, and it had so many pieces because I know you've produced and I've produced as well as directed. We met with Parks and Rec. We met with the Hollywood Bowl people. We met with the people who are part of the foundation for, I don't know, the trust or whatever it was. And then the people that were putting on that particular service. And so there were four different, which I was a part of, who hired me. So we met with four different people that were putting this on, which was very interesting. And they were skeptical of having that many children because it was 100 kids from 5 to 10, 12 year olds. It was pretty much elementary. So that's a big venue, and a big stage, and no dress rehearsal other than the morning of. You get to go do one. So it's a bit of a cast of thousands, and then it's completely open to the city, and it was full every year we did it, and just all sorts of characters. So it's pretty special
A
to
lot
have
of
got
stage mothers.
a lot of stage mothers that wanted to go
100
backstage.
kids, and each one with at
Well,
least one.
and so this is an interesting story, Charles, because the first year they were very nervous about it, and they said, there's professional instruments back there, there's green rooms, blah, blah, blah. I said, that's okay, because, I'm professional, I know what's going on. So I talked, because it was a church that was asked to produce this. So I said, look, this is a union stage and they're not being difficult. I said, they just really want to protect. I mean, these are world-class instruments. There are people performing here tonight. So we need to do that. So we had a certain amount of mothers per child. Because they're there a long time, and it's as little as 5. So I said, we're going to have clean snacks. They can only eat them here, blah, blah, blah. So the next year that I came, literally one of the people from one of the organizations came and gave me a hug and said, I'm so glad you're here, because I guess they tried it the year before and it was just, 100 kids crawling all over. So I felt really good about that. And I said, look, we need somebody, and the thing I really felt good about Charles was I said, I will deny no child. So we had special needs kids. We had, you know, every kind of child that wanted to participate could participate. And, I had volunteers that if they needed help, would help with that. So that's something I felt really good about.
I'm intrigued by this title, Lush Valley Estates. You want to tell us about that?
Well, that is something in progress that we're hoping to come to fruition. You know how we all have projects, Charles, that come and go, and when someone wins an Oscar or an Emmy, they go, "This has been." We've been working on this for 10 years or 15 years. You go, how could they have been working on this that long? But that's Lush Valley Estates. So when my husband, who was not my husband then, we had started dating, and someone told me once, never date
You can
anybody
tell us
that's
his
on
name, in case some.
Greg Perkins.
Thank you.
And they said, never date anybody that just got to town. I remember people telling me that. I hadn't been in town that long, but I'd been there longer, probably about a year. And we went out, and I think he'd been there a few months. And we went out and we clicked, and we were also singing together, um, and doing some things together, kind of in a group. And he got, he was with William Morris, and he got Lush Valley Estates optioned by Brandon Tartikoff, who was then the youngest.
What is the concept of Lush Valley Estate?
So Lush Valley Estates, I hope I do his pitch well, is and it was NBC. It is a Texas, I'm trying to think if it's Dallas or just say Texas, socialite, ends up, guy that married her divorces her for a younger, she's not that old, by the way, for a new young thing. And what she gets in the divorce settlement, because she didn't read her prenup very well, is a limousine and Lush Valley Estates and no money. He's loaded. So she thinks, well, I at least have Lush Valley Estates, and it ends up being a trailer park. So she can keep up all the pretenses with her limo,
I
but
love
then
it.
she has to live in a trailer park. So yeah, that's and we are going to be releasing that, but we have not yet as an audio drama because Greg got the rights back and would still love to see it produced on camera as well.
Hmm. Interesting. Maybe the
Yes.
Two Dog Films will join up as.
Ooh, yeah, it's a very
Oh,
fun.
I love the concept. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how much does coaching take up of your time?
It in some ways, if you ask my husband, he'd say it takes up a lot of my time, and in some ways it does, but it just varies because it depends how busy I am. I mean, there are times like, this month I'm doing some, but I'm also going to be on a trip, for about 12, 13 days. And so I'm not coaching then. I mean, I'll go above and beyond, especially if someone has a great opportunity and I'll go, okay, if you don't care, I'll do it over the phone with you or we'll do it on Zoom. That's what's so great because all of that is on Zoom now. I do some in person, but I would say sometimes it's about a third of my time, depending how busy I am as an actor. But Charles, we're all it looks like because we're having fun and we love it,
Yeah.
but we
That's
are
why it's called Pay
all,
the Dream.
yeah, paid to dream. But, I'll do a session, I'll jump in the booth and do 5 auditions, and then, I'll come back and do another session. So it's kind of like, it's got the flexibility, but it's always like we're working. That's why it's so hard to say how much of your time, because I feel like most of the, like even yesterday, we're going to take some time off. Well, I got a big video game with a bunch of characters. And so, of course, I did them. and it's a lot of fun. But it seems like we're always doing something, right?
And what about the interactive video games that you and Greg are?
Yes, we are trying to ramp those up again. Last year was so busy, and honestly, very good things, especially towards the end of the year, with the NCIS, and then the my podcast got nominated, and I'm hoping for Pay to Dream as well. Although we can't be competitive, we'll have to go in a different category. No, we can. We're friends. We'll be happy. No, we really are happy for each other. I mean, I
Yeah.
miss that. I miss that, don't you, Charles? Where we'd be in the lobby, and then one of us would come out and go, "Oh, just here's a tip. They actually changed this line," or I think they really want it this way. We'd help each other out, because the great thing about acting or this medium is you're really not going against anyone else. You're just being the best you or the best character that you're bringing to life. So we're always happy for each other. So I'll fill you in on that. But yeah, so we were both so busy, and Greg optioned a script, and he's been doing things. We really want to get those back. In fact, had a meeting last night about that. Just finishing up some of the projects we've already recorded, and want to do some more. So we have quite a bit in pre-production right now. I mean, post-production, not pre-production.
So how do people get in touch with you?
Well, Kathy Grable VO at gmail.com is how you can get in touch with me. Also, kathygrable.com is my website. You can also get in touch with me that way. And that has all my representatives as far as the acting type of thing that you can get in touch with me. And then for coaching or directing, you can also go through my website or email me directly at kathygrablevo at gmail.com.
Okay, don't be shy. Let yourself dream. Let yourself dream of what
Yes.
you've always
Yes.
wanted to do. This woman can make it happen for you. And you've made it happen for me this morning, Kathy
Oh,
Grable.
Charles, thank you. And
Thank you. This has
you
been
have,
Paid to Dream. And please, there is a like button on there someplace. Like it. Subscribe to it. There's a lot out there to share. Thank you.